Welcome back, and when I left off last on this playthrough, I just got back to Sanctuary, and now I am in WEP, the Wildlife Preservation. This map is one of the reasons why I think my build really works over others. In this map, you have Stalkers, which are mostly shield and very little health, so Shock is important, Twister, and Quasar. You have Loaders, where you need Corrosive. You have a lot of flesh enemies, skags, racks, humans in general, so you want to have fire. Humans are mixed with the loaders, so you want to have both of these. And then you also have fire resistant flesh enemies like fire skags, where you want either non-elemental or this as well. I see a lot of builds where you have like a fight for your life weapon, like a Norfleet here, and then you'll have a Grog here, and then you'll have the Chain Lightning and a Herald for Grog swapping, and then your one main weapon and an element. And that way you aren't really matching elements unless you only have single elements in a map, and you don't really have them. So, I hate Pestilent Stalkers, but I love Inertia. You hear just that dot trying to take it down, and Inertia won't let it happen. So that's always fun. And there's a Twister ball just going off in the distance for chain reaction. So today's topic on Borderlands 3 was actually suggested by Avex, and it's the must-haves. And he suggested this, and I thought it was an interesting topic, especially since in Borderlands 2, it was only the second in the franchise, and there's already these like must-haves that didn't exist in both games, and people are like, "Oh, this is Borderlands. How dare you not include this in the pre-sequel?" Take care of this rabbit. Oh, there's a lot of rabbits. A lot of dead rabbits. I really enjoy twisting stalkers. So like I said, I always thought that was an interesting topic. That like things that were included in one game were all of a sudden what the franchise is all about. But I will agree that taking some of those things out, wasn't the greatest idea. And hopefully they learned a lot from the pre-sequel, and that matters, because they did leave out some things that were in Borderlands 2 that were hugely successful, and some of them they kind of put back in. So I figured I'll start off with enemies, and I actually kind of wrote down some notes for this topic. And I'm sure I'm going to miss a lot of the must-haves and other people's opinions, so I'd love to hear them. So please leave those below in the comments. If I didn't include... Oh, goddamn. I'm so used to just running through this map that I completely forgot to go up to get Mordecai. That's what happens when you forget that you're running through the story. So, back on topic. Enemies. There's two main things that Borderlands 1 and 2 kind of did a little bit better than the pre-sequel. Maybe 1 is a little thinking in hindsight. It's been a long time since I played Borderlands 1. But the enemy variety, and enemy variety within a mob. What I mean by these two different ones is, you have lots of different types of creatures. Like in this map is, oddly enough, I didn't plan it, but probably a perfect example of it. You have skags, racks, stalkers, loaders, the engineers, just a ton of different enemies. But within those, like when you go and fight loaders, you can get full loaders and RPG loaders and power loaders, and yeah, just so many different kinds of loaders. Even with the stalkers, rabbits, and pestilence. Stalkers are probably not the best example because although they have variety, they kind of all act the same for the most part. Like, a lot of skags act differently. Sorry that I'm talking over Mordecai here. I said I wouldn't do that stuff, but I did. Look at that Jacob stock. Isn't that disgusting? Come on, like, Mordecai, you're a professional sniper. How are you gonna sit there with a fucking Jacob stock on a goddamn sniper? You'd throw that shit in the grinder. Immersion is ruined over a fucking stock. And a Jacob's barrel on a... That's just not a good sniper. How is he destroying enemies with that? But back to it. You know, like I said, you have a lot of variety in this. Like, you'll have humans and loaders together, or you have the section of the map coming up here where you have stalkers, skags, loaders, and racks in one part. See if I can actually be disciplined enough for this. Do I have to go activate this first? I do. I'm trying not to kill them, they're just too weak. There we go. I did it. Oh shit. Who was hitting me from up above? Is that guy gonna come down or what? Alright, I'm in a bad spot here. I'm gonna back up a little bit. Those guys had the angle on me. Alright, now I feel better. This is what I'm talking about, just having a lot of different stuff ready to go. Or just have the Becca, because the Becca does all. So yeah, back on topic after I avoided almost dying there. That was actually a really close call. So, you know, I think that's a big part of what made Borderlands 2 so good. Borderlands 1 didn't do that quite as well. And then TPS kind of faltered and went backwards a little bit there compared to Borderlands 2. And that's why it was such a difference in mobbing experiences. I'm going to go quick check back here to get another grenade or two maybe. Just because this area can sometimes get a lot of ulties and be pretty challenging. Although with 7 grenades, I doubt I'm going to find another one. It was worth a shot. So that's one thing that I think is really important, kind of a must-have. But within that variety, it was kind of also cool in this map, especially in some others, where these enemies would fight each other sometimes. So in this area, they work together. But the skags and stalkers, or we have skags and humans. See, I told you ulties are going to show up. That's why I love the Pimpernel. Okay. You down? Yep. So just in this area, again, the variety, it's kind of perfect topic here. Come on, scoring. I want to shoot below his shield there. They didn't want to waste a phase lock on that bull loader because he's almost dead. There's your slag, Mordecai. Thank you. I didn't even realize he dodged all my brilliant twister shots. Where is someone here? And again, like, you have surveyors, you have, I know I guess surveyors are kind of part of loaders, but you have all these different kind of loaders. I just love it. Like, this is such a good map. And that'll actually lead to another part with the circular maps, but I will get back to that. So another part of enemies that was really important to a lot of people, and this one was a bit odd because it's something that was just in Borderlands 2. I don't think it was in Borderlands 1 at all, but the evolving enemies. Goliaths. Hey, it's not Tuesday. What are you doing, Steam? Whoa. Okay. I will have to cut this out. I had to just freeze there or something. Do not know what caused that. There's some nice relics. Yeah, evolving enemies. So Varkids and Goliaths mainly. The pre-sequel didn't have any of these, and a lot of people were really angry about that. And, you know, evolving enemies are pretty awesome, so, you know, I'll agree. I don't think that's like a... I don't know if that's one of those things that's like fair, this is a must-have for Borderlands, this defines Borderlands, because it wasn't part of Borderlands 1. It was new to this game. But I definitely think that's something they should continue, because it was a massive success. People loved them. At least it seems like people loved them. I mean, Borderlands has, or Gearbox has much more metadata on what people liked and didn't like than any of us can have, but yeah, they seem to be incredibly popular. Switch to right gun. So many surveyors. And then pre-sequel, I think there was some, like, some of those rats could evolve in something, but they couldn't evolve to the same levels, and it wasn't the same. So, you know, it's something they definitely should bring back. Kragen's kind of devolved, and that was fun. And I kind of hope they bring back something like that, too. I thought Kragen's were a really fun fight. Because as you kill one, then you have to kill two more. Even though those two had less health, it was still a lot of fun. Yeah, blow up that. I don't know why I'm twistering these loaders. But I just like to twist sometimes. Be careful running up here, sometimes ultis spawn. I think all those enemies already dropped down. So, you know, I just went through all that, and now we run into skags. And this is one of those areas where often you'll get badass fire skags coming right here, and this is where it's important to make sure you have some different elements. Oh, shock. I want to kind of group these guys up and let chain reaction do some work. And then with these dudes, they just seem like twister bait. Nicely lined up for multiple kills. So the next thing, and here's something we just ran into, even though I kind of made a joke of them and destroyed them really fast and easy. Is big badass enemies. So in Borderlands 1, like, this game's all about kind of like big and badass and just kind of overdoing things, you know. Torg's a good example of that. But like ultimate badass psychos, ultimate badass skags, like, these things are way different from normal skags. They're way bigger, they stand out. And you saw this in Borderlands 1 and 2 once again. With Skags, with Psychos. They're not all like that, but like Ultimate and Super Badass Loaders are like that. Ultimate Badass Stalkers. Marauders, not so much. But it doesn't have to be everything. Where did that guy go? Just want to deal with him. Also wish I had a few more grenades for this area. Now, I'm gonna kind of go a little slow here. I want to get rid of these racks because they are going to be super annoying. But first, I've got to get rid of the stalker because he'll just also annoy the piss out of me. But this is what I'm talking about, enemy variety once again. And the peak also nailed this. Oh, another super badass rack. But in so back to those badass enemies. In the pre-sequel, where the hell did those guys did they just die in that mountain? No, they're coming. In the pre-sequel, there weren't a lot of badass enemies that really stood out from regular enemies. Yes, they were harder, especially in UVHM with the shield buffs, and the badasses got a bigger buff than regular enemies. So badass enemies were hard in the pre-sequel, but they didn't really stand out graphically or visually. And you know, this is a video game, it is a visual medium, and I want my badasses to look like badasses. And this is what I mean by enemy variety, just all together. I just love it. Fighting each other, fighting me. Hopefully there's a lot of grenades down here, just I tossed them all out, but I love doing that here. But yeah, the pre-sequel, once again, the badasses for the most part just kind of look like the other enemies. There were some unique enemies like Ophas and stuff where they're all kind of pretty much badasses and bigger. But I think that's something they need to do a better job at bringing back. Oh, he was already dead. How did that just go right through you? These are the little skags that could. Feel bad wasting so much ammo on him. Where are you? Get over here. I can just run through this area of the game all day. And I'm gonna go get this enemy. So I'm trying to think anything else with enemies that thing is. I mean, obviously they need to do some AI improvements, but that's not really like a must. Well, I guess you could say it's a must-have with any kind of next-gen game. The next part of the enemies is kind of mixture of loot and stuff, but it would be the farmable, unique enemies, mini bosses, and main bosses. And that's something that, you know, the pre-sequel once again didn't include. That wasn't in Borderlands 1, but people got really upset with when they didn't include it. And I get it to a point, because it was an awesome part of Borderlands 2. And while Borderlands 2 didn't have the drop rates of Borderlands 1, I didn't mind that because if I wanted a certain gun, I knew where to go get it. In Borderlands 1, it was all kind of random stuff, and unless you were glitching through the farmery, which, let's be honest, it was a glitch, it's not part of the game design, your chances of finding that gun you want are pretty low because it's just world drops. It's completely random. And you could just farm for one gun forever and never get it. So I liked, even though the drop rates were lower in this game, I liked the fact that I knew where to get the gun that I wanted. And that's something in the pre-sequel that they took out, and people are really upset. And they ended up patching it back in. They're like, how dare you not do that? This is Borderlands. This is how people play Borderlands. But that wasn't part of the Borderlands franchise, just one of the two games. And that's where I thought some of these topics are kind of intriguing. Damn I-beams. And standing sideways so you cover your crits. And there's some extra odd things like the swag man and the pre-sequel that was always kind of sitting there. And he was a decently challenging enemy in UVA Gem. He got those badass buffs. Oh, back. Oh, I guess the Quasar wasn't going to pull him. See if it went and got these guys. Nope. But the swag man who should have definitely had a drop tied to him, he just seemed like that enemy, like a Savage Lee or something. But they didn't, and I thought that was just really strange. And there's some enemies like that in the pre-sequel that did, but then there's others that didn't. And Borderlands 2 had a lot of these. I mean, they're all over the place. From, again, your Savage Lee to your... Did I throw that too high for this guy? Right. Oh, crap. I want to get him closer to get some chain reaction. Sorry, I wanted to concentrate on the UVA there. But that's another example of like a badass that's like really freaking badass. To kind of go backwards there for a second. Oh, funny. It almost looked like a legendary through the floor. But yeah, just all the farmables, McNally, Mob, and Get, like, these guys aren't really bosses. But they're kind of, maybe kind of mini bosses, badasses. I don't think I actually picked up this quest, which is fine. I wasn't planning on farming through that anyways. So I think that mainly covers enemies for the must-haves. I mean, yeah, you have certain iconic Borderlands enemies that you should bring back. The Psychos, the Skags, and so forth. But, keep introducing new ones. Bring in some of those pre-sequel ones, I think. Like I said, I really like the idea of Kragans. I think they're really interesting. Next is maps. One thing, again, kind of the pre-sequel got in trouble for this. It was missing too many fast travels. And Borderlands 2 had some issues with that. Not quite as bad, but, like, not having some in even story modes. Yeah, I should have looked at that guy. I think he was fire. Yeah, he is fire. He's corrosive. Alright. Go Pimpernel. And that pretty much took care of them. I really hate Pestilence Stalkers. So I don't like to fuck around with them. They are just so goddamn annoying to me. Mainly because they almost seem phase lock proof at times. I don't know why I picked those things up. That one wasn't bad. They don't have that much health, but they often just phase in and out so fast. It's hard to get a beat on them. This is another area I love. There's a bunch of rabbits down there, though, so I'm going to be a little cautious jumping down. Let my phase lock do its thing. Chain reaction do its thing, and I got some more grenades. So the fast travels, you know, that's an easy one. I don't really have to go much more in detail with that. I think that might have been a rabbit behind me. That's a dumb choice. Yeah. Of course, they're not that scary when you have a twister. And your Maya. The next thing, and this is a good example of it once again. So basically this map is everything good in Borderlands. This is the must-have map, I guess. I didn't really realize it going into it or plan that around it, but this hits so many of the points. Circular maps. This is another one where the pre-sequel kind of missed that. But this map, you're going in a giant circle, and you kind of end up back at the beginning or near it. The Drakensberg did that a little bit, and maybe a few other, but they didn't do that with many maps in the pre-sequel. And it just kind of, it was one of those things that you might not think of that right away, but once you don't have it, you really notice it. There's a big one to bounce some bullets off of. How are you not dead yet? Or is that a different guy? Open. There we go. You guys are better for the twister. Oh, hello. This also, going off topic of BL3 and back to my build, this is why I love the twister. Where the Becca and the Pimpernel are not standouts in those situations, that is. Isn't there another skag that comes up here? Yeah, you guys just do a good job of grouping up. And did they all die? Yeah, 3 bullets. I'm not sure how many enemies died. I couldn't keep track. But like Southpaw is a circular map. Bloodshot really isn't, but they have a fast travel if you go through the second part of it. But a lot of these really great maps are very circular. They don't all have to be like that, but you need more of them than the pre-sequel had. Alright, that was some bullet reflection dumbness by me. What was that guy? Still have both of his arms. There's some splash damage. So my next point after circular maps and Angel Guard and switch to the god. Alright, screw it. How did he not get hit by a single twister pellet? That is weird. Actually, this might just be a good Becca spot with armor and flesh like this. More dense mobs, and this map, once again, sorry to kind of beat a dead horse here, is a good example of it. There's a lot of really kind of heavy mobs, and the pacing is good. Like, you know, as you kill a mob, you don't have to go that far to the next mob. you have a little ammo break or whatever. There's plenty of ammo around here. Then it goes kind of big mob to big mob. So I want to group these guys up, or they won't behave, I guess. How have I not killed a single one yet with all that? And then the next thing from maps is a good variety of like map variety, and what I mean by that, it's not necessarily environments, it's how those environments play out. Because Borderlands 1, you had the same like brown dirt everywhere. Oh, no ulti in this. Oh, here we go. Let's see what I've got there. But you had like those really tight quarter indoor maps. Like before you go to Sledge, I forgot the name of that guy, but that big dude you had to fight before you get to Sledge. And that whole indoor map and the Crimson Fastness and so much of that really good stuff. And that's what kind of made the maps have more of a variety than they really did environmentally. You had kind of variety in just the way the maps were laid out. In Borderlands 2, you have a lot of like good indoor versus outdoor, tight versus open. The pre-sequel had some of that, and I don't think the pre-sequel map variety was as bad as people say, but you know, map variety is just a big thing of it. I think that covers maps. How do I want to go about this fight? Because if he hits me hard, I do need a way to heal here. I might pop on a hail.
There's pros and cons to each.
Yeah, I should be able to take him down pretty hard and fast though. So I'm going to use the B and the Becca and just not really mess around.
Want Bloodwing back, huh? Shame.
So after maps, we go to vendors. You know, vendors, whatever, they're vendors. But I really think it's time they do a sell all and a buy all button. Well, they kind of did a better sell all system in the pre-sequel. I like that. Just red X stuff, and you can do a sell all on console and PC. But they need a buy all ammo. Just do it already. Next item of the day, kind of keep it like the pre-sequel. Maybe tone that down just a hair. But definitely having the item of the day be really good is nice. And the other thing they did a lot better in the pre-sequel is the scaling of the vendors, and I hope they keep that. Because in Borderlands 2, you would kind of over-level, and then the vendors won't level with you very often, and it seemed like in normal and TVHM, they're always... Oh, that was a terrible start. Alright, so this is working. So those crits. Okay, that's the Becca. And with the B. Whoops, not evolution, blockade. Okay. Farm some bar here. I laughed so hard when this first happened. Guess I wasn't a big Mordecai guy in BL1. Kitty Joe's gonna hate me for that. And I was going to go into storage next, but this is a good point. Pacing.
Sorry about Bloodwing, soldier, but we gotta
Don't have us give us a story where we can't move on. Like in normal mode, this was okay
control core engine.
because I was intrigued by it. I'd never heard the story before, but now I'm just like, let me move on. And before you get to Bloodwing and the area by the loot midgets, that's another area where it's really annoying. Like, why can't we come into this room and loot while we're hearing that story? Like, why do we have to stand there and just stand still and listen to it? You know, give us a little bit more. So, story pacing.
Oh, where the hell is
And, you know,
violin
it turned out that was kind of pointless.
somewhere? I was gonna play it all
Like here.
sarcastically.
This is good pacing now because
Where's a bloody violin?
you have this going on, you have this kind of funny dialogue, but yet we can move through it.
Whoa! You didn't think you were gonna get out of here alive, did ya?
Intruder in range. Deploying
He's gonna try to steal my kills. Yeah, there he goes. I don't know how the hell he's doing that with Jacob stock. That's bullshit. See, look at him. Just be a jerk. And he'd be missing so many shots with that recoil. I call hacks. So now we are going to go deliver that to Claptrap. And let's see, what are the other must-haves as I go back to Sanctuary here. We went through the farmable guns, that's on my list. Storage, you know, consoles are upgraded, we no longer have these limitations, so more gun space, please. I don't think we need unlimited, but although this isn't really a must-have, this is a want of mine. Have some kind of gun transfer system, something where I can send a gun to another one of my characters, because the Claptrap's secret stash, let's be honest, it's kind of bad. You know, those 4 spots, it's a pain to use. The idea is good, but let's bring it a step further. And then the story, you know, obviously Borderlands known, kind of like the heart behind it, especially with like Tina's, you're not invisible, I can heal you. But it's kind of a combination of heart and comedy. I hope they keep that thing of the... How the hell did I just get an achievement after all this time? That is weird. I guess since I moved to PC, I never did that. I liked how they kind of separated. The main story's fairly serious, like there's jokes in it. But then the side quests where they get really goofy with, you know, like the one over the Top Gun mission, which I absolutely love. The Ninja Turtles mission, and so many of these kind of cool things. You know, people kind of got angry and called it meme lands. But Borderlands 1 was also full of Easter eggs. I mean, Skegzilla, come on. But that was a side quest as well. So I hope they kind of keep that way of doing it. And they did it in the pre-sequel as well. The story itself was actually kind of dark, but there was a lot of really goofy side quests. And I want them to kind of keep it that way, because I enjoy that goofy stuff, but it's nice when that goofy stuff is a little more optional. You know, Pervy and Censorbot is just really funny stuff, and yeah, just a lot of really good stuff that way. So I hope they keep the pacing of that. I was gonna dive into the kind of like the scaling and the 3 play modes and some of that stuff, but I think I'm gonna save that for another topic because that's a big discussion. So I'm gonna call it here. I think that was a pretty good length. And let me know what are your must-haves of Borderlands. Like, what makes Borderlands to you? You know, I didn't really go over. You need a lot of gear. I thought that was a little obvious. You know, the randomized gear, the shooter looter. I want to go a little more the less obvious stuff that kind of makes Borderlands what Borderlands is. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that, what you think is part of that. And once again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have not subscribed yet, please do that. I appreciate those. And I will see you guys later as I go to Thousand Cuts to meet the Bandit King, whoever that may be. Have a nice day, and I'll see you soon.